In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips on how to receive and appreciate compliments. Because, oh, believe me, when people do this wrong, it can backfire and it can just shut down and close so many social connections for you. So, let me teach you these 5 steps on how you can receive and accept compliments. In case you missed it, I just did a video earlier on how to give a compliment and 5 tips for that on how you can use compliments to be an awesome social tool for you. So if you need to, go and check out that video and then come back to this one on how you can accept compliments. But if you've already watched that or you already feel confident in that ability, let's dive right into how to accept compliments, because this is something I've struggled with in the past. And then I feel like I've really mastered, because it became something that I was like, I'm awkwardly like shutting down conversations, or all the conversation is going great and then this happens and I don't know how to accept a compliment, right? And it muddles the whole thing. And so let me share with you what I have learned when it comes to accepting compliments. And the very first thing, kind of obvious, but don't be embarrassed. Oh my goodness. What is it about people telling us that we're wonderful, or that they like something about us, or that they've noticed something that makes us just feel a little bit self-conscious? So that is all 100% in your head, right? So get out of your own thoughts and just don't be embarrassed, right? Just be so gracious about it, and we're going to talk about that. But like, first and foremost, like, don't think that a compliment means more than it is. And don't think it means that like you've stood out in maybe negative ways. Sometimes I think in our own head, we take a compliment that somebody said and we turn it to mean something bad about us. That 100% happens in our own mind and head. So just don't be embarrassed about it. That's step 1. My second tip for you on how to accept compliments gracefully and graciously, that is to just say thank you. That's it. You just look at the person. You don't have to say anything about like, oh no, that's so sweet of you. Oh, I can't believe you noticed. If you can't think of any of those things, or if this has caught you off guard, or you're not even sure what to say, just simply say, thank you. I appreciate it. I even just added that little part. All you have to say is thank you. This tip is where I got in trouble all the time. And that is my third tip, which is to don't dispute it. Don't pedal back from that compliment. Don't say things like, oh, you don't really mean that, or if you only knew the truth, right? Or, oh my gosh, you can't believe like this crazy. Just say thank you so much, right? And then we don't dispute it and we don't backpedal from it. All the time, I used to fall into the trap of like, oh, it's fine. No, you don't really mean that. Not a big deal, And what that does and why that is not like great. It's not great for 2 reasons. The first is we're dismissing what people have noticed about us that's wonderful, right? Or that's unique, or that's different. And to build our own self-esteem, like, we need to be willing to accept that we are wonderful and amazing. And some of that comes with accepting the wonderful things that people have noticed around us. So just get used to practicing accepting and saying, well, yeah, I'm an awesome person. And so, it makes sense that I look great today. It makes sense that I did really great on my math test. It makes sense that my clothes are so cute, right? Just start to accept and bask in that glow. And then the second part of why this is important to not dispute it is it makes that other person feel like they did something wrong. It can really shut that other person down, especially if it took them a lot of courage to talk to you about that, or a lot of courage to give you a sincere compliment. And so please, please, please don't just shut them down because of your insecurities. Graciously accept it, and then don't dispute it. Now, I found a lot less girls struggle with this, but there are a couple of us. So I'm throwing this tip out there if you are the one that goes this way. And that is, don't make a big fuss about it either. So we don't want to dispute it and say, oh, that's not true, or they don't mean that, or wasn't a big deal. And we don't want to go the other side and saying, yeah, don't you think so? Or like, yes, let me tell you all about this, right? And just like diving head first into this compliment and either sharing more details than is necessary or talking about yourself too much, right? We just want to be really like in the middle about this. And that's why one of my very first tips is like, just say thank you. just say thank you so much. And if you want to add to that, like put your hand on their shoulder and be like, thank you so much for telling me that. It means the world to me. That is all you have to say, right? And we don't want to come across as like we're vain or conceited or that we think about these things all the time. So don't make a big fuss about it either, right? Those are kind of two extremes, right? The downplaying it, you don't mean that, and the I'm so amazing, of course you complimented me on that. So just be in the happy middle of those. Tip number 5, that is to cherish it. One thing that I've done myself and I coach girls to do is to keep a journal of your greatest hits. And what I mean by this, what I mean by that, to keep a journal of your greatest hits, is I literally had a list in high school. I have it in my journal now of just things that I'm so incredibly proud of. Things that people have said to me that have really stuck and made a difference in my life. Things that I've accomplished that were extremely hard. Places I went, things I've done, hard things I've accomplished that I didn't want to do, right? I write them all down on this list, and you should put some of those compliments that really mean the most to you on this list, because when we all go through like self-esteem ups, downs, roller coasters, it's so important to remember what people have told us, because people seem to have an easier access to just seeing who we are and just seeing, some of the good that we do that we're oblivious to because of our own thoughts and the own walls that we put up in front of ourselves, that the blinders of what we're looking at. And when we're in those low points, we're going to want to cherish and reflect back on those compliments. So tuck it in your heart, choose to believe it. And then if you want to take it a step further, create your greatest hits list that I tell a lot of my coaching clients to do, so that when we have some lows and those peaks and valleys, we have somewhere to go to remind us who we are and what other people have seen and cherished about us. Okay, babe, armed with these 5 tips, you are going to be amazing at accepting compliments. And I know that this doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is just one of those like minute social skills that make all the difference, right? It takes us from being somebody that can talk and has friends and is on the verge of charisma to just next level. People can't put their finger on it. And it's these little things. It's the little details. And one of those is knowing how to graciously accept compliments. So I hope that this video helps you out. I mentioned earlier, and I hope you've checked it out, but I have 5 tips for you on how to give a compliment that will change your social game as well. So go ahead, check out that video. And I hope you check out my channel, especially if you're a teenager and young adult looking to master high school and beyond. Create the future that you dream about and set goals for, because all my videos are here to help. So cannot wait to see you in my next video. Abbi J out.